I don't think we turned our mics on.
Or what?
Race car spelled backwards is still race car. This is the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brad, and with me is a special guest this week, my son John, filling in for Jamie while he's on vacation. And this is episode 90 of the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. John, how you doing, man?
Good. 90 episodes. Feels like you just started this podcast.
Yeah, because you know, it's funny that John's on here because when we first started this podcast, he wasn't even allowed to listen to the podcast.
I was underage for
Jamie.
listening. For Jamie, I was Jamie restricted at the time.
Although we do take him on to races with us, so he's actually traveled with me and Jamie quite a bit. So
yeah,
and he goes to all the NASCAR races with us. So I figured he would be a great fill-in for Jamie. Last week we went fishing, spent a couple days in the woods. And some trout fishing, and instead of skipping an episode when Jamie can't be here, we decided to get John to fill in for him. So we'll see how it goes. So John, did you watch the race?
I did, although I did it while writing an argumentative response paper for my English class.
Wow, that sounds like no fun whatsoever.
Yeah, welcome back to being a teenager.
Yeah, no thanks. I didn't like writing papers when I was in school, so. Although when I was in college, I feel like that's all I did was write papers.
Because that's about all you do. It's about all I've done in my college classes. So.
Write papers?
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds horrible. So William Byron won the race at COTA. The Jeff Gluck poll of was it a good race, I'm floored by the results. I voted no on it. The results are 50-50.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. But I mean, I didn't think it was the worst race I've ever watched, but not much happened. I mean,
it wasn't very entertaining.
It wasn't very entertaining at all.
Or exciting, let's say that.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, I had the race on, and I actually had some stuff I had to get done on the computer, so I really turned the race on, let it play in the background, and I figured I had my notes ready to take notes. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take good notes. Jamie's not going to be here. It's just going to be me and John. I want to make sure my notes are all in order. Everything's ready to go. Stage one, we're getting almost through stage one, and I've yet to write anything on the paper. And it's like, wow, do I even really need to be taking notes? So I didn't actually take any notes.
Well, I mean, besides talking about track limits, there's not much to note on.
Yeah, we'll get to the track limit thing. I was not very happy Saturday about track limits. Sunday, not so much. Saturday, I had a moment Sunday where I got flustered with the track limits, but Saturday was insane with the track limits.
Oh, yeah.
So before we jump into the COTA, let's just talk a little bit about racing. Like I said, John's been going to NASCAR races with me and Jamie since we started this show, and he's honestly been going to NASCAR races since before he can remember.
Yeah.
So when John was little, like baby, probably a year, maybe not even 2 years old, maybe between a year and 2 years, he went to qualifying at Atlanta. Then in 2014, I took him to his first Xfinity race at Talladega. And I was impressed. The boy didn't have to go pee one time during the whole race.
Natural.
And I said, hey, he could do a cup race. And that was the fall Talladega race we went to. And that next spring, May 3rd, 2015, took you to your first cup race. Do you remember that?
I remember seeing it was a Race Dale Jr. one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I remember, like, I have a vivid memory of him getting out of his car. But besides that, I couldn't tell you what happened in the race. Besides that Dale Jr. one.
I couldn't tell you what happened during the race either. Don't feel bad. I do remember Dale Jr. I've told the story on the show quite a few times, actually. So went to his first race. His first race, it was me, my father was there, and him. So it's 3 generations. All 3 of us are Dale Jr. fans. We get to watch Dale Jr. win. Like, I remember looking at you and telling you, it don't get any better than this.
I do remember that.
And has it gotten any better?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, it gets no better. Like once you've seen Dale Jr. win and
That's
he's your favorite driver, like the
all you
only
can ask for.
the only thing better than that's watching him win again.
Yeah,
We almost saw that in Bristol last year
we did.
until he caught on fire. So speaking of Bristol, you've been to North Wilkesboro,
Yep.
and we're going to talk about that. But you've been to Atlanta, Bristol, and Talladega.
Yep.
Out of, let's say Atlanta, Talladega, and Bristol. Out of those three, which one's your favorite?
Man, that's a hard question to answer now. If you would have asked me before they repaved Atlanta, it would have been Talladega. But I don't know. Repaved Atlanta. I mean, what a finish.
Three wide.
wide. I mean, it that's pretty close to Dale Jr.
That was, I mean, as far as finishes go, is that the best finish to a race you've ever seen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get more dramatic than that for
Like,
a finish.
the stands were silent. Like nobody knew. They're like, everybody was in shock that they just saw what they saw at Atlanta. It was so crazy.
I mean, I would have never thought, 5 years ago that I would have seen a finish like that in Atlanta out of all tracks.
So you've been to Atlanta. You've seen the old Atlanta, the new Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't think you have a hard time telling me which one's the best.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
I remember that one Atlanta race we went to. We left like 80 laps before the finish.
Yeah.
And didn't miss anything. I'm pretty sure whoever was still in first won that race when we left.
Yeah, that was a rough one. It was cold, too.
Yeah,
Cold, windy. We were sitting in the shade. Yeah, that was miserable.
Yeah.
Atlanta cold is not fun at all. Because Atlanta can be – we get cold in Atlanta for like, 2 months out of the year?
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's usually when the race comes to town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even this year it was cold. This Saturday, the Xfinity race and truck race this year, it was chilly outside.
It was chilly.
Sunday was beautiful, but
yeah.
So North Wilkesboro, I want to talk about this. That was probably one of the most special nights. Now, I'm not talking the All-Star race. I'm talking North Wilkesboro, Dale Jr., Cars Tour. This wasn't NASCAR sponsored. This was grassroots. There was no bathrooms open. It was Porter John's. No concession stands. It was food trucks.
Yep.
The seats didn't even have rails at the end of the stands. It just fell off.
You could have fallen off if you weren't careful. If
you could
one too many.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure somebody fell. There's no PA speakers. You can't hear. You don't know who's winning. You don't know who's leading. You don't even know what lap it is.
Not a clue. And
it was the most magical night of racing I've ever personally experienced in my life.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
I don't even know what it was that made it so great. It was just everything came together. We were back. Yep. Cars were back at North Wilkesboro, and not just that. Dale Jr. was in the number 3 Sundrop car. Like, it did not get any better.
It really didn't. And I mean, Dale Jr. proves time and time again that he can still drive a race car.
50-year-old. He's 50. And the dude, I guarantee you, can win a Cars Tour race. Guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Heck, I thought he was going to win Bristol.
I thought he was too. I mean, at the end of that race there, he was making his way up through the pack.
We watched him lead a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, every lap he came by leading, people were cheering.
It was awesome.
It didn't matter that we were halfway through the race and we still had another half to go. Dale Jr. holds a special place in the heart of NASCAR fans.
Yeah.
If you didn't like him when he was driving, you probably like him now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's so involved with NASCAR, and I mean, he really represents what NASCAR was.
Yeah.
And what it should be.
Well, he's a student of the sport.
Yeah.
He studies the history of NASCAR. He studies the sport. He doesn't talk. What he talks about, he's educated on. He's not like me and Jamie where he just talks. Like, Dale Jr. knows when he says something, he knows it's a fact.
Yeah.
He knows he's speaking the truth. So speaking of Dale Jr., I raised you to be a Dale Jr. fan like any good parent would do. I mean, good parenting skills.
Dale Jr.
Yeah, I didn't want you to end up a Joey Logano fan. So
awful.
See, I did something right, guys. He doesn't like Joey, and he was a Dale Jr. fan. parenting skills 101.
Yeah.
Take my advice. It's working. So Dale Jr.'s retired now.
Yeah.
Since he's retired, who would you say your favorite driver is?
Well, when Dale Jr. first retired, I naturally went to Chase Elliott. He's fan favorite, the most popular driver in NASCAR. He's good. He was a good driver. He's easy to pull for. But as I've gotten older and as I've watched more racing, as far as the entertainment value that Chase Elliott brings, there's not much. So if I was to pull for any driver, it would probably be Denny Hamlin, just to hear him say, "I beat your favorite driver" at the end of a race, because that's just entertaining.
See,
And that's just funny.
y'all give me a hard time. A lot of y'all give me a hard time for pulling for Denny because he brings content. He brings an entertainment value. Like Chase Elliott said on the Dale Jr. Download last week that he probably wouldn't let the Netflix guys come in and put him on that show if they do a season 2.
I don't blame him either. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but if your job depends on fans' support, wouldn't you want to do everything possible to get those fans to support you?
I mean, yeah.
Doesn't
But I think Chase Elliott's more he's obviously more focused on driving than
Yeah, no doubt, but I don't know. It's almost I didn't like how he said it. I get it. I completely understand it. Like I want the guy to focus on driving, but you just said the same thing I've said on this show before. It's hard to be a diehard Chase fan because he doesn't have that personality.
right.
And Dale Jr. honestly didn't have that personality in the beginning either, but it didn't matter. Like Dale Jr. drove for Budweiser. He wore his hat backwards. He wore cool sunglasses. I mean, Dale Jr. was the young cool guy coming on the scene. So all the young guys coming into NASCAR just kind of went to Dale Jr. I mean, that's Dale Earnhardt's son.
Yeah.
How would it not be attractive to be a fan of Dale Jr.? But Chase Elliott on the show last week, he's like, yeah, I don't really want him in my business, kind of. And to me, it's like, hey, as a fan, I kind of want to know your business somewhat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, like, I want to know what you're doing. Like
I really enjoyed that interview with Chase last week.
yeah.
I mean, me and you listened to it in the car together, so I know you listened to it. Like, you got a glimpse into Chase Elliott's personal life, which is not something you get with Chase Elliott.
Right. It was interesting too. Like it was a good segment of the show.
Yeah, I mean, him talking about his snowboard wreck. Honestly, I didn't even realize he was on a snowboard.
Yeah, I didn't know it was snowboard.
I guess I just thought it was a skiing accident, but it was kind of cool to hear. Really, it was actually really cool to hear the details of it. It just these guys when they open up like that, it makes them personable.
Yeah.
Dale Jr. has a podcast.
Right.
I feel like I know Dale Jr. because of his podcast.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. Like a lot of you out there who listen to this show, you know me and Jamie because of this show. So if you meet us, we have friends we've met from this show. And it's easy to meet up and talk because you've listened to us. So you kind of feel like you know us. It's the same with these guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people like Dale Jr., he's got podcasts, Denny Hamlin, he's got his podcast as well, or his show. I mean, you know how they feel like about the sport. Yeah. And so if like let's say you go and meet these guys, you can talk to them and kind of know what you're getting into when you're talking to them about NASCAR.
Yeah, I feel like it makes you feel more comfortable when you're around them.
Yeah, it makes it, like you said, more personable. Like you're like, oh yeah, I know these guys.
Yeah.
And I can, these guys are just like me, but in a NASCAR.
Yeah, and I want that though. Like, I want to feel like these guys are superheroes. I want to feel like they can do something that I can't do because I don't know that I could go drive a car 2 inches off another car at 190 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I could do that. I'd give it a shot.
We've played racing games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is like our sim racing game we play. Yeah, John plays the World of Outlaws sim racing game with me, so
Yeah.
I don't think this is anything like that.
There's a shocker.
So here's a question for you, John. You're 16. Everybody knows what me and Jamie think about the racing. I'm curious. What do you think about what you've seen? From when you first started watching NASCAR with me to now with this new car.
Oh man, well, I think my very first memory I have of watching NASCAR and like watching a NASCAR race, they were still driving the cars of tomorrow.
So it had the wing?
Yeah, it had the wing on it. I just thought that was really cool as a kid. But I don't know. Watching NASCAR now, I think the next gen car, I think it's cool. It definitely has its issues, and it's typically not great on road courses, or not entertaining at least. But I think it has potential. I think NASCAR could take it in a good direction, but I think the I don't know, what was the car called before next gen? Whatever.
Gen 6?
Yeah. I mean, I think they kind of just had. I think Gen 6 just worked. Like Gen 6 was just solid.
And that car, I think part of that car was still similar to the car tomorrow. I don't think they made a lot of changes. Like the car just slightly progressed every season.
Right.
Going to the new car was a huge change. It was like they just kept building upon that old car.
Yeah.
When they went to this next gen car, it's like, all right, this is what we've been doing. Throw it away.
Right.
We're going to start over with something new.
And like even Chase mentioned that on the Dale Jr. download. He said that he can't drive this car like he drove the old car at all. Like,
he said he could get away with more with the old car.
Right.
So you got to be more precise with this car is what he was saying.
Which, I mean, it does, bring in another like level of skill.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, I think that could be a good thing for NASCAR, but they need to find a way to make it entertaining and skillful at the same time. Because right now, especially on road courses, it's just William Byron started on the pole and finished in first.
I mean, Christopher Bell was fast.
Yeah, I mean,
pit strategy put him behind.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one or two more laps there, Christopher Bell might have gotten Byron.
I think he would have, definitely. I mean, he was 12 seconds down, and he was there at the end. He just a few more laps, like you said, he would have probably done it. So, did you watch the truck race?
Watch the highlights.
Hey.
But honestly, from the highlights, the truck race seemed more interesting.
The truck and the Xfinity race. So, if you watched the truck and Xfinity race and were expecting to see the same thing on Sunday, you were sadly mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
So Corey Heim, he dominated the truck race. I mean, he just there was nobody who could touch him.
Nope.
You had Connor Zilic out there. This kid's a prodigy. Like he was a second faster than the whole field and won the pole. He went down a lap. He missed corner one.
I know, he locked it up
and went down a lap, and he still came back and finished in the top 5.
I mean, that's very impressive.
They should have put a camera on him the whole race.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it was the same with SVG in the Xfinity race. Like, the dude can drive. Like, AJ Allmendinger, SVG, those two guys dominated the Xfinity race.
Yeah, I did watch the Xfinity race.
No, the Xfinity race was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. So, Kyle Larson wins the Xfinity race. Like I said, SVG, AJ Allmendinger. I mean,
Racing hard.
Shane can race. Like Shane is a phenomenal driver on the road courses. He might stink up the show again in Chicago.
I mean, never know.
He's really good, and I think coming from that Super V8 series is why he's like that. Because those guys beat and bang.
Right.
They don't just ride around like IMSA or other sports cars that don't touch, which is what NASCAR Cup cars look like now. Is sports car racing to me. Yeah. So, but the last green-white checker during the Xfinity race, Austin Hill does what Austin Hill does. He got up under SVG going into turn 1, had his rear end completely off the ground, sends him wide. Austin goes wide with him. Kyle Larson slips right by him, goes in, wins the race.
Yep.
SVG gets a penalty, a track limits penalty. a 30-second penalty at the end of the race, goes from second to 27th. And Austin Hill, they interviewed him, and he said that he don't know what happened. SVG overshot it, went in there too hot, started wheel hopping. SVG is probably the best driver on a road course. He hasn't made a mistake all day. He didn't have a track limit issue all day. The very last lap.
Hill got into him.
Very last lap. He just overdrove it. The very last. Austin Hill doesn't have a problem wrecking people. He has a problem with people wrecking him.
Yeah. He's not a fan of that one.
Yeah. If you can't take it, though, you shouldn't give it.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to NASCAR.
You can't be a major league crap talker and a minor league crap taker. It just doesn't work. You're either all in or you're not all in. And speaking of all in, track limits.
Track limits.
Track limits were the hot button topic on X all weekend.
Yep.
You had 37 track limits penalties handed out on Saturday to the truck and Xfinity drivers. 20 of them went to the truck drivers, 17 to the Xfinity drivers. I don't like track limits unless you're going to do the whole track.
Right. Like, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're not going to have track limits, then don't have them anywhere.
Correct. Not just the S's. I understand. So they did it in the S's.
Because that's how it's supposed to be raced.
Yeah. And they didn't want you just cutting them going straight.
Right.
Because you could probably do that. But I don't think being a quarter of an inch off the line should... I mean, Dale Jr. had every driver of his Saturday in the Xfinity race get hit with a track limit penalty. And, I mean, you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
We're using Elon Musk, Microsoft artificial intelligence to tell us these guys are off the track. Like, make them do a stop and go. A pass-through's too much. Like, I know NASCAR said they couldn't do stop and go penalties here because they said they had nowhere to do it. I thought COTA was one of the largest tracks on the circuit, but hey, what do I know? We're
not the board of NASCAR.
Yeah. I'm not part of the NASCAR committee. If I was part of the committee, whew, I'd have been fired. I'd get fired.
You wouldn't last. You last all of about 47 seconds.
Yeah. All right, anybody have anything to say? Not you. You're fired. Just get out of here now. So, Chase Elliott got hit with a track limit penalty on Sunday.
Yeah.
Dude was wrecking. Like he come out, he got squirrely, overcorrected or corrected the car to save it.
I actually think he saved it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, he had already been technically, it's a penalty enough. I mean, he was losing positions when he went to save it.
Right.
You know, he lost spots saving the car. That's a penalty in itself. Now, adding a pass through is just. This is what I mean. NASCAR was consistent. I know we complain on this show all the time about their inconsistencies, but when you're consistently stupid, that's a problem for me. And track limits on part of the track is a problem for me. I don't like it.
And yeah, like I said, if they're gonna have those track limits, then have it for the entire track and make them run the track like it's supposed to be run. If you're gonna have track limits,
do you think track limits would make it better?
You know, I don't know. I'd have to see it because I think if they put track limits on and like enforced them like they did, it might cause the drivers to, race it a little cleaner maybe. And
if it got any cleaner than yesterday, then we'd be watching is qualifying.
That's true. Like I said, I didn't really pay attention to the Cup race because nothing happened. But the Xfinity race and even the truck race, especially on the restarts going into turn one, I mean, you had like 5-6 wide.
It's insane.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to do that if there were track limits. They couldn't run that far off. So
I'm not a fan of track limits. I don't think you need them at all. Look, these cars are hard to drive. Well, not these cars.
Well, no.
The old cars used to be hard to drive.
Because stock car racing is supposed to be stock car racing.
Yeah,
not
sports car racing.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what we have now, is sports car racing.
Yeah.
And
Which I mean, I do agree with you there. You know, I can see where you're coming from there.
yeah, I want to see these guys. I enjoy watching these guys go 15 wide around a turn that's only meant for 3 cars.
Right.
If you put asphalt there, they're going to use it.
True. But like we've already said, the new cars are like sports cars, is like sports car racing. So if that's what they're going for, then might as well put the track limits on there.
So let's not do track limits, NASCAR.
Yeah.
Hey, I know Jamie loves sports cars racing. He loves IMSA. I mean, Jamie, he texted me yesterday. He's like, this race sucks. And I said, well, it's no different than IMSA. And he's like, yeah, there's more beating and banging. Not really. Like,
No.
they do have some beating and banging. I mean, here's the thing. We had beating and banging yesterday. We just didn't see it on TV, really.
No.
Like, you had, William Byron goes in and wins that race. You had 0 cautions except for the stage breaks. But you did have Ricky Stenhouse. I always call him Spinhouse on here. You did have Stenhouse wreck Kobayashi again. Every time Kobayashi's in a race, Ricky Stenhouse has spun him out.
I think he has something against him.
You think he dislikes him?
I think he does.
I think he does too. I think he's jealous of his skill. I think that's what it is. Like Spinhouse, when your nickname is Spinhouse, wouldn't you be jealous of a guy who can go run in any series he wants to run in?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think Ricky Stenhouse would make it in F1?
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, he might go race for Ferrari, but
I don't think so.
he'd fit right in there.
He could probably change the tires for Max Verstappen. Maybe that would be it. Maybe they'd let him be a tire changer. So, what else happened yesterday? Christopher Bell. He did give us some entertaining value to the race. Yeah. He wrecked both the Kyles.
Yeah.
He spun out Kyle Larson, and then he spun out Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson didn't have anything to say about it. Kyle Busch, on the other hand,
absolutely did.
Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the video of Kyle Busch and Joey Logano's fight.
Oh, yeah, I have.
So if you watch that video, Kyle Busch marches down to Joey's pits with a purpose. I mean,
you can tell he's mad. You can tell
that's exactly how Kyle walked down to Christopher Bell's pits yesterday. You knew he was mad.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't expecting Kyle to go hit him. Honestly, I wasn't. Because I think to Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, he's a former teammate. He drove the trucks for Kyle. I feel like he's like a mentor. Yeah. And I think Kyle probably looks at Christopher Bell, in a sense, as a student of his. But the best of my word lip reading, and from what I could hear them saying, it sounded like Kyle Busch told him, this is twice, there won't be a third time. Now, I went back and looked. Last year at COTA, Kyle Busch was wrecked by Christopher Bell.
So, I mean, there's a pattern.
I mean, he had a reason to be mad, right?
Right. But at the same time, the Kyle Larson one, okay, I kind of think that was Bell's fault.
Yeah. He overdrove it.
Yeah, he overdrove it on Larson. On Kyle Busch, he took the weird line. He tried to cut it back and get a better exit on the turn. And
you're speaking logic here. We don't do logic on the show.
It's my bad. It's my bad.
No, I think you're 100% correct. Like, that is exactly what happened. And, I mean, poor Christopher Bell, when Kyle was getting on to him.
He looks like he was about to cry.
He looked like a kid getting in trouble by his dad. Like, please don't whip me.
He looks like when you're at your friend's house and your friend's mom gets mad at you. You're like,
oh, God, what do I do? Mom, come pick me up.
I don't want to be here anymore.
I want to go home. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Christopher Bell did anything intentional with Kyle Busch.
No.
I don't think he did anything intentional with Kyle Larson. I think he just overdrove it. I mean,
yeah.
Christopher Bell's he drives sprints and midgets. He comes from the dirt world. He's not used to going left and right. So, we have 6 road course races a year. That doesn't mean these guys are experts at road courses, by no means.
Right.
I do think Christopher Bell's a really good road racer, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he almost caught William Byron. So, is he going to make mistakes? Probably. But I guarantee you, what do we have in the race? 39 drivers in the race. One got disqualified. 38 drivers in the race. They're going to make, I guarantee you, all 39 of these drivers made at least one mistake yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you can't. No one can drive a perfect race.
It's not their discipline either.
Right.
So we have 6 road courses on the schedule. You know, they used to be a lot of fun to watch, but in this new car, I just don't think they're as fun. And before the next gen car came out, if you watched a road course race, it looked a lot like Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it was like these cars were too big, too heavy. They didn't turn well enough. So the guys fought the car to keep. I mean, they raced the car as much as they raced the competitors in the old car.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel like you get that in the new car.
No, and that goes back to it feels more like like GT racing.
Yeah.
Because
it looks like it.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel like NASCAR anymore. And,
but the car is built like a GT car.
Right. So I mean, I think that's where the issue lies with the next gen car is it's not made like a NASCAR.
So, like I said before, the poll was 50-50. So 50% of you out there like the show you saw yesterday. I talked to one of our listeners yesterday, and he said the race went bad. My immediate response to him was, what did you enjoy about that? Because I meant it in a non-offensive way. I meant it as in, please tell me what you enjoyed about that race, because I have a show to do tomorrow.
And I got none.
And I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was boring. And he said the strategy. I don't buy it. I don't think so. I understand the strategy aspect of it, and it used to be really important, but the strategy should include fuel mileage and tire wear.
Absolutely.
There was no tire wear yesterday.
No. I mean, there wasn't. What happened? Bristol, they had to change tires every 50 laps.
Yeah, I mean, you went from the softest tire to the hardest tire in 1 week. They're like, whatever we used at Bristol, complete opposite. That's what we need at the road course. Yeah,
leave them at Bristol. We don't want them.
So essentially, that makes it a miles per gallon race.
Yeah.
Like, you ever sit around with your friends and like, yeah, I gotta get gas in my car. How many miles per gallon does your car get? And you talk about it. Essentially, that's all we had. We had Ford, Chevy, and Toyota. Who got the best gas mileage yesterday? That was all it was.
Yep. That
was the strategy. And to figure that strategy out, all you got to do is play the race backwards. We can go X amount of laps, end it, and work backwards. You might stop on lap 6, but then you're good to go the rest of the race. That's the strategy for fuel mileage only. Add tires in there, then you have strategy.
It's a completely different ballgame.
That would be more entertaining, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, if they had to, worry about, am I wearing down my right front tire? Do I need to conserve my right front so I can maybe later in the race make a couple positions? That'd absolutely be. And if they had to pit more, how many times did William Byron pit on Sunday?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lot. Like, you could either, I think you pit right before the end of stage 1, right before the end of stage 2, and then maybe one time during stage 3, maybe 2. So I go 3 or 4 stops the whole day.
Yeah. And with these tires, it just doesn't make for an interesting strategy.
No, I mean, rumor is they can use these tires again the next road course they go to. We're using the exact same tire. Literally, the tires that came off the car are the ones we're using in Chicago.
I mean,
they're scuffed now.
I mean, shoot. William Byron had to park it in front of the wall and
just to blow a tire.
Just to blow a tire.
The only tire wear we saw was during the burnout, and that doesn't count. That's not good tire wear, people.
Yeah, I saw someone say on YouTube. One of the comments was on William Byron's finish and his burnout. That's just a waste of money. You didn't use any other tires all day. Why not?
Yeah, they're going to use those other tires at Chicago. I doubt that. But, you You got to have it. I mean, I think we saw last weekend at Bristol that the fans, the teams, and the drivers want tire wear.
Yeah.
I honestly believe NASCAR wants tire wear. Like, how could you have a race like last weekend and not be excited? Like, if you're NASCAR.
It was such an exciting race.
Or, I mean, Marcus Smith owns that track. I mean, Marcus Smith's got to be going, thank you, God. We got a good race. Because the fall Bristol race,
it was.
I think they pitted like 5 times. Not every 50 laps.
If that.
Yeah. Like, they got in line and they ran around the track. Over single file. We didn't pass. We didn't wreck. We didn't do anything but run around circles.
Yep.
Usually at Bristol, there's always action going. And you just miss it because you're watching it on TV. And speaking of TV, Fox did not disappoint. The booth at Fox is great. Like, yeah. I really enjoy Kevin Harvick in the booth. I'm not a fan of Clint so much anymore, but I can handle Clint because of Kevin. Mike Joy's he's back on point again. He's back to the old Mike Joy. He's good again. Him and Kevin work great together. But the camera guys, I don't know if they need a raise. I don't know if this was some kind of special hiring procedures y'all use that you didn't use before. I don't know if you're, letting immigrants run it. I don't know what you're doing, but whoever's running your cameras, man.
Oh, man.
Get it together. You guys they didn't let me down. They did the same thing they do every week. They zoomed in on the first 2 cars, and that's it.
That's all we got to see the whole race.
I mean, you could literally, at the Xfinity race, see dust flying up in the background and cars spinning out, and they're like, look at these 2 cars by themselves doing nothing, running together. And the booth is up there screaming like, oh, he's off the track. He's spinning out. And the camera just, look at that car go by itself. Look how slow he's not going. Wow, guys.
Wow. Look. Yeah, I mean, they need to do something there because I find it hard to watch NASCAR on TV because of it.
Well, that's where I was going with this. So we're about done talking about COTA, but as a 16-year-old, how do you prefer to consume NASCAR content?
Being at the track, without a doubt.
Other than the track, then, like you just said, it's hard for you to watch it because of Fox.
Right, because you don't get to see.
It's hard for me to watch it.
You don't get to see it. You don't get to see the race. You get to see the 2 cars up front, and that's about it.
So you watch, when you watch NASCAR stuff throughout the week, is it Dale Jr. stuff, podcast stuff? Is it NASCAR shorts on YouTube, Reels? I mean, what is it?
I don't. It depends on the week. Every week, I'll listen to episode or 2 of the Dale Jr. download, and that's honestly my favorite way to listen to NASCAR because it's Dale Jr.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean YouTube shorts and Reels and stuff like that. That's kind of that's how I find the stuff I'm not looking for.
Yeah.
Like that's how I see things that I'm not exactly looking for. But I watch the highlights of the race, and then if I have the time, I'll put the race on in the background and watch it like that. But besides that, like watching a race on TV, it's not the same. Like,
it's definitely
it's not the same as it used to be.
So if you've never been to a race, he's telling you right now, you need to go.
Absolutely.
I would say if you're watching it on Fox currently and you don't enjoy what you're seeing,
go to a race.
And you go to a race, you think they'll be a fan?
Oh yeah, it's an experience like nothing else. Especially the super speedways. Oh, yeah. Like going to a super speedway and watching 35 cars or whatever run at 190 miles an hour for 3 hours. I mean, there's
2 inches off each other.
I know, like they're that far. They're that far off each other for 3 hours. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. See, but you want to watch that. You want to see that. Like, so when we go to a cup race or whatever, when we go to a race together, you don't have to just watch the leaders.
No.
So is that how you fix it? Is that how Fox can make it more entertaining? Should they offer other camera views, like on an app? Or maybe back in the day, like way back in the day before you were born, used to be Dish Network or DirecTV or somebody. You could get pay-per-view channels. It was the in-car camera of the driver and listen to his audio and his in-car, and you just pay for per week. You'd pay for them. And me and Grandpa Doug, that's what we did. We watched in-car racing, and then we had another TV with the race on it.
Yeah.
So back then we didn't have an iPad to flip open and tap an app.
Right.
We had to legit bring a TV from somebody else's house or pull one out of a bedroom. I mean, you got 3 or 4 TVs in the living room just so you can watch in-car camera and the broadcast.
Yeah.
But is that something Fox should look at doing? Maybe have different camera angles? I mean,
yeah, I absolutely think that they should have they should focus on something else besides the front of the pack. Because I remember, I don't think it was the last race. I think the last race we went to at Atlanta, but the one before that, Kyle Larson like started middle and he fell back in the pack, but towards the end of the race he made up like 12, 13 something positions, and I wasn't even watching the front of the race. I was watching Kyle Larson for 40 laps.
just watching them pass cars.
Yeah, because that was the most entertaining part of the race at the time, was watching Kyle Larson make his way up through the pack. So I think if they had, instead, because when they go to like commercial, they've got like 7 different prompts up there.
Yeah.
Make it 7 different cars.
I think you should give the fans more control too over what they want to watch at that time. Like, do you want to watch the leader, or do you want to scroll through this camera, or do you, just like when you're at a race, you can choose, I want to watch the leader. No, I want to watch these guys, or I want to watch these guys. You can choose. I think maybe you need more interaction. Maybe it needs to be more interactive. Maybe the fan needs to have more control over what they're, I think you do need the old school version that you currently have.
Yeah.
For, your boomers and your older people out there.
Yeah.
But I do think that
there should at least be an option.
Yeah, especially for fans your age. Like, you're the future of NASCAR. NASCAR won't be around unless we get people like you to start watching NASCAR.
And it's really hard to start watching NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, he was just raised in it.
Right.
You've not
known I've been around NASCAR my whole life, so it's hard not to be in it.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick won the race the day you were born. And we had to go to the hospital that night. And, like, I don't know how your mama held labor off until the race ended, but she did. And we had to go to the hospital. You were born the next day, but still.
Yeah. Surprised I didn't turn out Kevin Harvick fan.
Whew.
It's like star signs.
It could have happened. I mean, I was always a Kevin Harvick fan to an extent, but this was always my guy.
Oh, yeah.
Dale Jr., honestly, Dale Jr. is still my favorite driver. And
absolutely.
I mean, he does race. He races in cars. I mean, hopefully this year we're planning on maybe getting out to South Carolina to Florence Speedway. Hopefully we get to see Dale Jr. We'll see Dale Jr. race this year.
Yeah.
I think for like the last 3 years we've seen him race once a year.
Yeah.
So,
it's our tradition.
Yeah. So
we got Dale Jr. race.
We got to figure it out, but we'll get to a Dale Jr. race this year. So, but that's really all I got on COTA. Next week we got Richmond. It's Sunday night. It's an Easter night race, 7 p.m. on Easter night on Fox and MRN. The track style, I wrote short super speedway because it's a short track, but it races like a super. It doesn't race like a drafting track, but it races like a speedway. So
Richmond short track speedway.
Yeah, historically Richmond's a boring race. It's not a great race.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe they bring the Bristol tire. You know what we need? We need Denny.
We need Denny to go pee in all the tires.
We need Denny to go pee on the track. Because apparently, Denny peed in the tire compounds. The rumor on the field, guys. I mean,
he peed on the tire compounds in Bristol. It was a good race. So.
If Denny pees his pants, Denny wins a race. I mean, it's
proven fact.
Yeah. It's Billy Madison all over. Like, peeing in your pants is cool. Denny peed his pants, y'all. You ain't cool unless you pee your pants like Denny Hamlin. I'm not peeing my pants when I'm driving down the highway, though.
No.
Jamie tried to get me to on the Cannonball Run. My eyes were watering. I had to pee so bad on the Cannonball Run. Jamie's like, I'm not stopping. Brrr. And he wouldn't. I mean, if
Like,
it wouldn't
dude,
have been for donuts,
I'm about to open the door, man, and just let it out.
he would have let me. He was encouraging it probably. Like, just pee out the window. Get in the back. Hang your lower half out the window and just pee. Yeah, I mean,
Oh man.
you've traveled with Jamie.
Yeah.
You eat at gas stations and you pee at rest areas.
That's it.
I do make Jamie eat breakfast though when John's with us.
Yeah.
And lunch. Like
He does good.
Jamie lets John eat. Me, on the other hand, he'll starve me to death. He don't care, but John's under 18, so Jamie still takes care of him. He even watches his language around you.
I know.
He didn't at first. He's gotten better. We're proud. We're proud of Jamie.
That North Wilkesboro was interesting.
Ooh, that's a fact. Yeah, that was interesting. We had Meth Ninja at the Walmart parking lot.
That was a highlight. That was absolutely
Dude comes out of the wood, doing karate at the crosswalk at the Walmart. The guy runs out of the woods from the meth trailer, does karate like a karate routine. Light turns green, he runs back to the woods. I
don't know.
I don't know what's in the water.
I don't know what's in those woods.
That's that meth shack down there. It had to have
I
been.
mean, we saw at that cross section. We saw at least maybe 10, 15 people come out of those woods.
Yeah, no,
I
I don't know what was down in them woods, but I don't really want to know either.
No,
to be honest with you. So yeah, North Wilkesboro was interesting. Yeah,
it
the
was
special CIA headquarters that claimed to be a Lowe's.
Yeah, it was a weird looking Lowe's.
No Lowe's anywhere.
I've never been to a Lowe's where all their windows are blacked out
and cameras everywhere and
barbed wire fence.
Yeah.
And,
guards that are hidden in guard shacks. Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I know the price of wood has gone up the past couple of years, but
it's serious.
It must be getting really bad.
It's getting expensive. They got security around, 24-hour security. They are holding you down. So,
No.
Well, let's do fantasy picks. So, you know how fantasy works. Last week, I had Daniel Suarez, and of course, I lost.
There's a shocker.
Yeah, he's giving me a hard time before the show starts for picking Daniel. Like, I really thought Suarez was going to win. Or at least, all he had to do, he don't have to win. All Daniel Suarez had to do was finish above Chase Briscoe. That was it. That's not that hard, I didn't think. Where Daniel Suarez finished?
He's like in the 30s.
31st.
31st.
Chase Briscoe finished 13th. It's like they flip-flopped. That's just my luck. At least I didn't pick the 51. I mean, he got disqualified for not weighing enough. So
yeah.
That would have been, I guess that would have been, 39th instead of 31st. So I lost again. Therefore, I picked first again. Picking first is not the advantage, John. Because I've picked first like the last 3 weeks and I've still lost.
Wow.
So this week I'm going to go with Kyle Larson.
A safe pick.
He won. Yeah. He won Richmond. He won the Richmond spring race last year. He finished like 19th or 15th or something like that in the fall race. So Kyle Larson's running good right now. I mean, Rick Hendrick's running good right now. Rick's cars are running good. HMS is running good. William Byron won this weekend. Yep. I think HMS, their anniversary year, I think they do it. So I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. Who's Jamie at this week?
Who does Jamie have? Jamie has Truex. Martin Truex Jr.
And that could be an easy one, too. That could be a good one. That's actually going to make it tough, really, because Toyota usually runs really good at Richmond. I think Richmond's even sponsored by Toyota. So,
well, I mean, considering your track record, Kyle Larson is going to end up getting spun out by Spinhouse and
thanks.
DNF.
Thanks for the support, son. Maybe I should pick who I don't want to win.
Yeah.
Like,
just pick Logano.
I can't
week.
pick Joey Logano every week, though. Once you pick him once, you can't pick him again. Have I used Joey? Let's see. I mean, I can change my driver if I want. Jamie's not here to tell me what I can and can't do.
You don't have to listen to the rules.
Yeah, they're my rules. They're our rules today because Jamie's not here to tell us. Yeah. I haven't used Joey. But I can't pick Joey either. I think So with
You can't
Jamie
pick
having
Joey because you'd be traumatized if you did good.
exactly, and there, I don't know if you remember, we went to the Daytona Motor Speedway one time, and we went through Daytona USA. Joey Logano had won the Daytona 500, so his car was on display. So we go through the museum, and as you come out, they have the display car, or Joey Logano's winning car there on display, and they take your photo with it.
Yeah.
We come out, and I'm like, the lady's like, all right, yeah, take your family. We'll take a picture. I said, no, my family is not taking a picture in front of Joey Logano's car. And I grabbed the kids, and we walked off. I would not allow that. You remember
I
that?
do remember that.
Like,
I forgot about that. But no, that was funny. That's funny looking back on that.
that's how much I dislike Joey Logano. I'm not even taking a family portrait in front of him. Like, that's not a Christmas card moment. So, with Jamie going with Truex, though, I'm going to stick with Kyle Larson. Like you said, it's a safe pick.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody can beat Truex at Richmond, it's going to be Larson. Denny's probably going to win the race. But Jamie wants Denny for Darlington. So I'm trying to save Denny so I can use Denny at Darlington. Because I'm going to lose the week before. We already know that. So I'll be able to use Denny at Darlington. The week before, Jamie will probably pick somebody like Rick Ware. Like somebody like that. Like, give me Timmy Hill. I'll take Justin Haley.
Yeah.
He's gonna pick the driver he thinks he'll finish dead last. That way he gets first pick for Darlington. So y'all just listen in for that because it's coming. You're gonna hear it soon. You'll hear me and Jamie argue.
That'll be entertaining.
It's nothing new for me and Jamie to argue.
Dude, you knew I was gonna pick Denny Hamlin this week. So yeah, I know.
You only picked him because I was going to. Oh yeah, Jamie will be all over me. Don't worry. Well, that's all I got this week, John. You got anything else?
No. Well, truck race. What was it? Marco is.
Oh yeah,
is
Marco Andretti.
Yeah, Marco Andretti is.
His rear end ran away.
So I don't. They've got that those Delta bolts screwed on there.
Yeah,
those Delta airline
Those
bolts.
Boeing.
Yeah, Boeing.
Boeing built that rear end. I've never seen I don't even know how that happened. Like he broke the whole drive shaft. Everything was broke. You see it, and here goes his wheels.
Like
his rear end passed him.
His back tires finished farther ahead than his front.
That's a fact. It was insane. I've never seen nothing like it before. Like even the booth didn't know what to say. They're like,
never seen that before.
I mean, you got Michael and Phil, which Phil's an idiot, but Michael usually can fill him in and like, it's okay, Papa Phil. But he couldn't even do that. Phil's like, I've never seen that. And Michael's like, me neither. And Jamie's like, oh, guys, there goes his rear end.
Oh no!
Like nobody knew what to even say, and I don't know why it happened. Like I haven't seen him. I'm sure it's been somebody on the tweeters probably put it out there, but I don't know what happened. He missed the shift. Maybe he put it in reverse. Maybe he put the car in reverse when he went down. I'm sure something like that happened. Like the transmission had to break for it to turn to break the drive shaft like that. I mean, it just torqued it so hard it ripped the whole rear end out.
It was crazy. I mean,
never seen anything like it.
No.
So, well, John, I greatly appreciate you filling in for Jamie this week. You had fun?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You do it again?
I would do it again.
All right, Jamie. So if you need any time off, and I mean, rumor on the street from Jamie is if the NASCAR season doesn't improve this year, he's out.
I'm taking a spot.
There won't be a season 4 with Jamie. So might just be me and John taking over next season. So Jamie's going to give it one more year. NASCAR don't improve. He's already said he's out. So
we'll have to do a reboot of the show, RCB Next Gen.
Yep. Yeah, the next gen. I mean, you are the next generation of NASCAR, so I like it. And anytime Jamie's going to be out, and I'm going to, for you that don't know, we record this show at my house. I have a studio built in the barn out back that we use, so a lot of times it's too late in the day. We just can't make our schedules work out. So if Jamie can't make it, John lives here.
Yeah.
It's a little easier for me and him to walk out here at night and knock this show out. So instead of skipping a week a lot of times like we have in the past, we got things going on, we can't get this thing recorded, me and John will come out here and give y'all episodes. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody who listens, watches, shares the show each week on social media. Thanks to people who follow us on Twitter. We're at Car Backwards. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, check out all our other videos. Check us out on Spotify. Make sure to follow us on Spotify and rate us. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review like Brandon did. Look, when y'all leave us a review, it helps other people find the show. It gets the show name out there. Leave us a review. If you got questions, comments about the show, you can send us a DM or you can email us. Our email address is racecarbackwardspod@gmail.com. And make sure you check out our merch store. It's racecarbackwards.threadless.com. Other than that, y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Yeah. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
You just listened to Race Car spelled backwards. For that, we thank you.